Craig and I were a Montauk a few years ago, and that's what we found is that the cooking of the meals was really a bonding experience for the family, because each person had their own job, and you're working together, and the guys are doing some things together with the pa, and the girls are with the ma, and you're just chatting and learning together. It's really a fun time of the trek, I think.
So allow yourself anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes to get the coals ready and going before you're actually going to need them. And I'm not using anything fancy here like a volcano or a coal bucket. They make lots of fancy things that you can do to get your coals hot really fast, but we're not going to have those with us on the trail, so I didn't bring any of them.
But you're going to be able to use briquettes. I mean, I've heard once
Absolutely.
They can use wood, and I'm like, oh, how are
There's plenty of wood up there, and if you choose, you can do wood, but I can't control wood as well as I can control briquettes, so I prefer briquettes.
What are we using to start the briquettes?
You'll be using fluid, just like I am going to use here in a minute.
So you don't want us to bring like a charcoal light?
Oh no, the round canister. That's why I didn't bring any. I have them.
Illegal, huh?
I have them, and they start coals lots faster. But I didn't bring them because my assumption was that we didn't have room for them on the cart. So, Greg and Susie, you can answer that whether they're legal or not.
They're legal.
After loading that cart and messing with it, my feeling is, you're not going to want to handle any more than, if you can start the coals on the ground, do it like the Scouts do.
If you have a fire pan, I'm using a fire pan here underneath my bottom one. If you have a fire pan, I'd suggest bringing it. They make charcoal fire pans.
So is the fluid going to be supplied?
Yes, you will have a 10-pound bag of charcoal and the charcoal lighter fluid to go with it, and matches, which I forgot this morning. But thanks to Jan and Craig, we have some. So, yeah, you'll have all that as part of your supplies. Other questions? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to you, Craig. You can go through the butter.
Okay.
I'm going to go wash this and then come back to do the bread.
I'm going to turn over to Keenan. She's going to teach us how to make the bread, right? Or
Curious.
okay. These churns are being manufactured for you as we speak. What you've got basically is, and my understanding, Greg, is this particular one is held together only by the rope. In other words, it's not glued or sealed or. But this will be provided for you, and as you can see, it's very simplistic, very easy to work with. We will put a quart of cream in, heavy cream, and that cream, of course, will be provided for you as you get ready for your feast. As we experimented with it, we've all found that you do not need to elevate the I don't know what they call this, but you do not need to elevate that all the way. If you just pound it against the bottom about half a stroke, that's sufficient to do it. And I think based on the temperature of the cream, which will probably be at outside temperature when we get there, you're going to probably only need about 45 minutes, 50 minutes to be able to do this. So they can, again, it gives the kids a chance to help participate. I think it's really, nobody can churn for an hour, so everybody's going to have to get involved. One of the things that we've learned, as the cream whips and mature, it starts to overflow, and you do get a little bit of residue on the top, and it does take, it's messy because it's very greasy. But as it gets more towards butter stage, it will overflow. We have to wipe it off, and this particular one, it seeps out the side and bottom because it's not sealed. Yours will be sealed. They are going to glue yours together, and we will put rope around it too. But like I say, we'll experiment with this today and show you. You can put salt in it. The one batch that we have in the fridge that we made the other day does not have salt. You will have salt provided if you want to add salt to yours, which is what most people eat with the butter that they have. Non-salted butter. Those I'm sure that Marion and Wendy just got back from Rome, and they don't usually have salted butter. That's usually in Europe they have non-salted butter. So it tastes a little better with bread, actually. So you can add salt to it or not. We're going to add salt to this batch, so you'll have one with salt and one without. You can kind of taste it. But I would imagine just what it would be salt to taste, but I don't think you'd need very much. I would say, yeah, I would say the most, probably a quarter of a teaspoon would be plenty. Because a quart of cream is going to generate about a cup to a cup and a half of butter. So we'll get that started, and
We'll try it. I think we should give everyone a chance to turn
we
it,
will.
don't you?
We're going to put it on this base right here, only because it does have a little bit of seepage and leakage, and I don't want to get that all over the parking lot. But we'll get it started as Carrie's talking, and then what we'll
Just
do
pass
is,
it around. Pass it up
I don't know
and
how
down
we're
the
going to
row.
pass it around, but we could probably do that.
I was going to ask if anyone knew when we talked to Sister Staley, Delbert Staley's mother, you know, she had churned butter when she was a kid. You know, that was just the par for the course. But we asked her why you couldn't add the salt while you were churning in the final churning stages, and one of the only reasons she gave us was, well, they used the buttermilk, and they didn't want salty buttermilk. But she didn't know if it would affect the separation, and I don't know if anyone here knows. They just, it wasn't done, you know, just because, mostly to her knowledge, they used, you know, it's because they didn't want salty buttermilk.
So they waited till later to add the salt.
Yeah, once you had your butter, then you kneaded in the salt.
It's really
the
hard
paste.
though to get it worked in because it's really, you know, thick.
When we made butter, we would, at the end, we would wash it with cool water to wash more of the buttermilk out. Do you do
Yeah.
that? And I think if you
We've
did
got-
that, you would wash some of the salt.
We've got some cheesecloth here. We'll actually wring the buttermilk out of the butter and show you how it firms it up. We did that the other night. And I don't know, maybe at that time you could add the salt and mix it in manually. I don't know. As you squeeze it out, I don't know.
We just had to knead it in with a fork, so.
I got to tell you what though, it's really
Yeah.
good without the salt.
It
So.
is. Okay. Well, we'll get started with this, and I think Carrie's ready to go, so we'll let him work with you on
He's
the
walking
bread.
by. I'll just talk about the Thursday night stew. Thursday night stew, I think you're going to be hiking 10 miles.
No, we've. You want to? In order to accommodate the Forest Service, they've got some study areas up there that they haven't completed the studies, and so we've had to adjust our trail a little bit. So we've shortened Thursdays to 7.5. Make you happy.
You'll probably come in tired, and so the stew for Thursday nights will be very simple. Very simple. You'll have potatoes, carrots, and onions, and you just fill your pan about halfway full of water. Chunk your potatoes, dice your onions, your carrots. You don't need to fill any of it. Put it in here. Put it in a hot fire. Get it boiling, the water boiling, dump that in there, let it cook about 15-20 minutes. That's your stew. Real simple.
Because I know that youth would want to just kind of cut it in the neck, want to cut it in their hand. Well, how do you suggest they better cut it so that they don't take the risk of cutting it?
Well, I think you've only got a knife or two, and I think I'd use your Dutch oven
The lid, right?
lid. Just, chunk. Just big chunks of carrot. Just,
I'm just wondering if there's any suggestions to put forth to the youth on cutting it safely.
Well, you have it down. Put it down, not in your hand.
Right.
And then just chunk your potatoes. I don't know. Just
We
like
have aluminum foil, so we could do it on the thing maybe. You know?
however you want to work it. Just chuck it, but don't have it in your hands. And then
Use the lid of the Dutch oven. Flip it over. Makes a great cutting board.
Just, half-inch chunks. The onions, cut them in half, slice it, chunk it, throw it in with
So
some salt.
when you say cook it over a fire, you're actually making a wood fire with this one.
That's what I understand.
You will have enough coals to do briquettes.
Briquettes or in the fire, whichever way you want.
It's totally up to your preference. They've authorized us to use the wood, at least at this stage of the game, that's there. My preference would be briquettes.
How many? But it'll be sitting right on the, so there's nothing.
I would use anywhere from 16 to 18 briquettes to get the water boiling would be my first take, because you want it to simmer and get warm quick. So
So I'd get the water boiling, then check your vegetables, and when the water's boiling, put the vegetables in, season it to taste.
Water to boil at lower temperature.
So, and it's bland, but it's edible.
no, it's designed to be a little bit blander the first night, so they
But we have it
understand
for
what
family
the
night one night,
pioneers
and
were
we
doing.
all
Our
not
teenagers
satisfied.
ate it. They didn't say they wanted it every night.
You say we should use kind of a pan to hold our briquettes underneath,
A fire pan,
or can you just put them right in the dirt?
you can. If you put them in the dirt, what happens is they'll settle into the dirt and they won't get the air going around them, so they won't burn as hot. So I'd recommend, if you do put them on the dirt, that you put tin foil underneath them. There'll be plenty of tin foil, the heavy-duty tin foil. But if I was going to put it on the dirt, I'd try and find some flat rocks and put the tin foil on the rocks so I could keep the briquettes up out of the dirt, because you get them down in the dirt and they get suffocated. The dirt suffocates them. So if you've got a fire pan, if you've got an old hubcap, if you know, a old hubcap from a junkyard works pretty good. Just run over it with your truck and flatten it a little bit, and then flip it upside down, and it does really well for a coal fire pan. Or they sell the fire pans that I have, or any kind of metal flat object that you want to bring. Just a flat piece of metal works fine too. So.
Are we going to have like enough water when it says we need to wash the vegetables and fill halfway? I mean, do we have enough water for that and for drinking? And
I promise you, you will not be needing to ration water. That was one of my big concerns. So we have the water covered. We have a large water tank that's being brought in. Plus, each one of you will be bringing your 5-gallon water buckets that are carriers that are full. You have 2 of those, right? If I remember right in the equipment list. So you'll have 10 gallons of water to start with, so that's 150 gallons of water, plus we have a 500-gallon water tank that's going to be there. And if we need to go get more water, we'll take the truck and go get more water. You will not need to ration water. I don't want to be in that scenario. Okay. Any other questions? I need to check the bread, actually. I think what I'm going to do first.
So it's okay to check it. I was thinking you got the sheet out and then it was like really.
Not done yet. Anybody wants to come and look, you're welcome. It's a lot of bread. It's got more than a loaf worth.
It's a lot heavier than the regular loaf.
It's not done yet, I can promise you that. Okay, how do we make the dough? I'm going to take my ring off because it really gets messy, and you won't have a mixer there to dump this all in and push the button and let it go round and round. So we're going to start with the empty pan from scratch like you'll have. And there we go. We could use the actual authentic cup. I better use the authentic one. Well, just for demonstration purposes, let me show you this. There's a cup of flour.
Do it over flour.
There you go. Almost to the top. About a ½ inch from the top, ½ to 3/4 inch from the top of the cup. 1 cup measured into this cup that you'll have. Yeah, just a hair below where the top of that handle is.
But it's all approximate. This recipe is all approximate, so
it's a good old pioneer recipe, so it works really well.
you're not even measuring the water, so it's
So
you don't have to.
The recipe says how many cups? 7. All right. Here we go. 7 cups. That's 1. There's 2. Here's a little heavy. That's 3. There's 4. Whoops. Little bay leaf. Well, we use that to kind of keep the moisture. Okay. How many? 5. Okay, good, good. Don't let me get away with anything here. There's 6.
Is the flour going to be in flour sacks?
I really think that the best thing that we'll be able to do, the most convenient, is going to be to have a 5-pound bag of flour. So you have the 5-pound bag of flour, and it's already divided up. It'll be in your bucket, ready to go. So there's 7. Now, let's go. What does this say to do with it?
5 wells.
5 wells. So here's my well maker. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little one in the middle for the yeast. Right? Is that what it says?
It says 5 wells.
All right. Well, we got this little one in the middle for the yeast. Okay. Now, what's next?
For 1 package of yeast in the middle well and lukewarm water.
1 package of yeast. You'll have a package. We have a big container of it at home, so we just kind of, scooped it out of the big container, put it into this Ziploc. You'll actually have a package of yeast. So here goes the package of yeast.
In the middle.
Well, I cheated because I got 5 going around. It's not in the middle well. So. Shame on me, I cheated. And water.